Hi, I'm Dr. William Teely, founding spiritual director for the School for Contemplative Living. And this is a new series entitled Resilience Now, with the question, what practices are saving your life? This series is intended for those of us that are seeking to cope with the pandemic, and especially those that are seeking to use more contemplative practices to help us through a very difficult time. So this is episode 2, and today we're covering reading for inspiration, not information, during times like this. I'll share with you my outline of the overall 10 things that have come to mind so far. This is Resilience Now. Previous episode, we covered beauty bathing, and today the suggestion to read for inspiration, not information. So just a few quick examples. In our School for Contemplative Living, one of our groups is dedicating our time to reading sacred poetry, or really just a form of poetry that is inspiring us. So the word inspiration, means a spirit within. So what is it that brings about a sense of spirit or presence of spirit to help us cope with times like this? Several of the friends in one of the groups, for instance, have shared poems that are specifically about the pandemic and how do we convert what is so difficult in so many ways into ways to grow and maybe craft our lives in new ways. Another thing that we're doing is reading a book in one of the groups called When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. I want to show you that one for just a minute. So When Things Fall Apart was actually written more than 20 years ago by Pema Chodron. This book, subtitled Heart Advice for Difficult Times, has been a meaningful interpretation of some practices and attitudes and ways of living a spiritual path that come out of Tibetan Buddhism, which is her tradition, but can really inspire all of us. A lot of things that include letting go of trying to make everything be the way it used to be, or trying to hold on to control of life, and learning to really let ourselves fall into the river that carries us along, that is life, perpetually changing itself and shifting itself. So one of our groups has been focusing on this text, When Things Fall Apart. And let me just encourage you to decide for yourself in this time. Some people may be saying, I have all this extra time, I should be taking courses and learning, growing my mind, building my skills. But in my personal opinion, when we're this stressed out, this is a perfect time to not try to get more information in our minds and lives, not to try to get ourselves to some other superior place, but rather looking for inspiration for how to face this place that we're living in now. So I'll come back with more episodes to address some of the other suggestions I have. But in the meantime, I want you to be thinking about what practices are saving your life now by building resilience now. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I look forward to being with you again.